Hey everyone, I'm DM Allen and welcome back to another video from the DM's table. Today I'm going to be reviewing with you a wonderful book that I have just finished and I absolutely adore it. It's called The Monsters Know What They're Doing: Combat Tactics for Dungeon Masters and is written by Keith Ammann. This book is exactly what it says on the cover. It is a tactics reference guide that you can use to better your understanding of how combat works in D&D 5e, and it is phenomenal for shifting your paradigm on how you use these monsters. Keith also does something very interesting, and he proposes a discourse on how to actually use the stat block that's in the monster manual provided by the Wizards of the Coast. You can read it like you might normally do and just look at it as numbers and attributes. But really, what Keith challenges us to do is look at those numbers and why they're there, and also why are those attributes there, and then start thinking about how these monsters are actually going to attack a party or interact with that party. So now let's get into what I liked about the book and what I didn't quite like about the book, and then some personal takeaways that I had when reading it. So let's dive in. First off, like I mentioned, this book is going to alter the way you think about monsters. This book is really good at changing the paradigm in which you look through. Now, even if you're similarly minded to Keith, this is going to give you a insight into how he tackles his monsters for games in preparation. Without giving away too much about what he has to offer, he really challenges the DM to look at the stat block and start questioning, why are those stats the way they are? Why do you have a high dex mod and a high constitution mod? Does that mean you're a shock troop? Or does that mean you're a hit and run kind of monster? And then he dives into what Wizards gives the monsters as far as attributes like dark vision and water breathing. And then he starts thinking about, how are these monsters going to attack a party, and where are they going to attack these parties? If you've got water breathing and a swim speed, why would you find them in a desert or on land? That's not really where you would find them. You might find them in a bog or in a coastal area. And though that seems like a concept that is a no-brainer, you constantly see DMs online or even at cons that really don't grasp these concepts. And I'm one of these DMs. When I read this book, it was a phenomenal shift in my thought process and how I tear down these monsters. And I'm very excited that I have read this book because it's inspired me as a DM, and it also has challenged me to take my DMing skills just a little bit higher and try and make encounters that are meaningful and not just what Keith calls it, rah rah rah, stab stab stab. And I love that. Another thing I like about this book is he doesn't beat around the bush on what he's going to tell you. He tells you right off the bat why he started looking at things like this and the kind of journey that he went through to kind of find these insights. And that's really, really great because in the end, this is a reference guide. So it's important for us to have that information right away. One of my last big things that I really enjoyed about this book, and this is a personal thing, is I loved the crunchy bits that he added when it came to like crunching the numbers and how you're going to gain advantage and how that changes your statistical outcomes for a battle. It is really, really refreshing to see someone come at the game with that old school tactics mentality and then taking that and putting it into a way that you can change it into a really good RP game. And I applaud him because it's very well executed, and I have not seen anyone articulate that through words or writing in a way that was so concise. And don't get me wrong, this is going to get really tactical, and that's what's going to lead us into the cons. All right, hold on. Before we go any further, I need to tell you about this week's sponsor. This week's sponsor is Metallic Dice Games. Go check them out. That's metallicdicegames.com. They have amazing products, absolutely stunning quality. They sell they sell dice trays and dice towers. They also sell dice cases that are really cool looking. They're silicone, and I personally believe that these guys are making phenomenal quality products, and I wouldn't suggest them to you unless I really loved what they were doing. And here's the coolest part about it. If you use our coupon code DM's Table 10, you're going to get 10% off your next order. Or an easier way to do it is just use the affiliate link down below in the description. Now, go out there and enjoy that diverse catalog, and you're going to find something out there that you absolutely love from them. My personal favorite is the acrylic Stardust Galaxy. I absolutely love that set. When you get it in your hands, you can actually see like through the die just slightly, and it gives it a really good depth, like you're just staring into the stars. It is absolutely fantastic. I really love the looks of their metallic dice too, and those dice trays are looking really, really good too. So go check out metallicdicegames.com, and let's get back to the video. Now, if you're not like me and you're not a big tactics, crunchy numbers person, then this book is still good for you, but it's going to be a lot harder of a read. You're going to want to treat this book as a reference manual because that's really what it is. I bought it and I thought maybe this is going to be a cover to cover type of read. And once I really got into it, I started realizing that that's not at all what this is intended for. This is really intended for I've got a monster that I'm about to put into a encounter, and then you go look it up and you learn a little bit about the monsters. Now, I would highly suggest if you use the book in this way, which you should, that you read the section starter first. Keith loves to drop in little tidbits all through the book that are just absolutely fantastic insights into the game of D&D, the tactics part of the game. He drops little insights like the combat system only really expects you to be battling for like 2 to 3 rounds, 5 rounds at most. That's a really interesting insight that just shows up in the middle of a random monster. So if you're looking for those insights, you will want to slog through all of these monsters and read them. And I'm going to tell you, it is a slog. It is a very interesting read, but you have to take it a little at a time. This book is not something I could sit down and crush in a day. I'm not a fast reader by any means, but if I get into a book, I don't want to put it down. With this book, I read a chunk, had to put it down. Read another chunk, I had to put it down again because it's just so much information that you have to sit and process it and let it sink in. And hopefully, you remember it for when you go to DM. Another thing I really wish I would have seen in this book is a more concise start. I loved how he got into everything so quickly, but he always leaves you wondering how he breaks the system down. Like Keith talks about how certain high ability modifiers are going to put monsters into certain rankings, like a shock trooper or a long-term fighter or a glass cannon, things like that. But what he doesn't tell you is what his system is for that. He doesn't tell you, if you've got these 3 attributes that are super high, then you're really looking at a glass cannon. But as you read through it, what you're going to start seeing is that process. It just takes a lot of technical reading. And for me, that's kind of a lot. Like I said, it's not a book I wanted to sit and read the whole day. Now, at the end of the day, it's still a very good book, and I absolutely love it. You should do yourself a service and go and read it, whether it's in chunks or otherwise. I would highly recommend this to all levels of DM. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to DMing or if you're a super seasoned dungeon master. This book is a great insight into a new way of thinking. Now, in the book, he says players can read it too, and I'm not against it by any means, but I did see that he's got a new book coming out that's called Live to Tell the Tale, and I'm guessing that book's going to be a lot better geared towards players and their tactics. I'm assuming that book is going to be a lot more cover to cover, or at least I hope. I would also recommend that you really spend time in the first few sections of the book. That is where Keith is going to lay out the groundwork for what he does throughout the book. So whether you're going to use it as a reference guide or not, I would highly suggest that the first few sections you actually do read. Don't just let it sit on the shelf and then as you use monsters, start diving in. Otherwise, you're going to be very lost. Now, as always, I have affiliate links down in the description below, and you guys can check out the book on Amazon. And I highly recommend, again, that you guys read this. This is really a game changer, and at the very least, you are going to get some crazy good DM inspiration from it. All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, obviously. Hit that bell down below. And also, if you want to join the DM's Table Discord, you are more than welcome to join. Just hit us up on our social medias. We're on Twitter at DM's Table and on Facebook at The DM's Table. Just hit us up for an invite to the Discord link. And we've got fantastic channels where we talk about the books we're reading, where we're talking about D&D, RPG information, gaming in general, miniatures painting, and just other awesome nerd talk. We love it over there and we want you to join. So hit us up. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I'll see you out on the internet. Bye, guys.